Mockingbird. You created your own sigil, didn't you?
Yes.
Appropriate for a self-made man with so many songs to sing.
Littlefinger didn't shock Westeros. He warned Westeros over and over exactly how he plays. Most fans remember the quote,
Chaos isn't a pit. Chaos is a ladder.
but the missed detail isn't the line itself. It's the fact that the show spends seasons showing you the pattern before he ever says it out loud. Because Peter Baelish doesn't win by being the strongest piece on the board. He wins by making sure everyone else moves first and then stepping into the space they leave behind. And once you see that pattern, you stop watching him like a mastermind with a perfect plan. You start watching him like a man running a system, quietly, consistently, profitably. Now let's start right there. Here's the misconception that keeps people from reading Littlefinger early. We treat him like he's always 10 moves ahead with one clean blueprint. That's not the real edge. Littlefinger doesn't predict the future. He manufactures conditions where any future can work for him as long as the room stays unstable and people stay scared. And he does it with the same 3 moves on repeat. He creates uncertainty, he positions himself as a solution, and he collects the profit when everyone else is scrambling. That's the ladder, not chaos by itself, the advantage that chaos creates for the right player. Start with his first tale, how he deals in power. Early on, Littlefinger is always in the ear of the powerful. He's not swinging a sword. He's not commanding an army. He's present, close enough to hear secrets, close enough to trade information, close enough to offer help. And his help always comes with a hidden cost. Littlefinger doesn't swing the blade. He sells you the reason someone else will and gives you a deal. And the deal is designed so that no matter what happens, he ends up holding something over you. Now watch how fast that becomes deadly with Ned Stark. Ned arrives in King's Landing playing one game. Honor, duty, straight lines. Littlefinger is playing a different one. Angles, leverage, pressure points. He tells Ned what he wants to hear. He sells himself as useful and he offers guidance through the maze.
But Baelish, perhaps I was wrong to distrust you.
Distrusting me was the wisest thing you've done since you climbed off your horse.
And when the board tightens, when Ned needs a decisive piece, Littlefinger offers one, the City Watch.
All is accomplished, the City Watch is yours.
Good.
That's the betrayal everyone remembers. Littlefinger flips the City Watch, Ned gets surrounded, and the room changes in a single breath.
I did warn you not to trust me.
But the missed detail is what that betrayal actually reveals. He doesn't betray Ned because he loves the Lannisters. He betrays Ned because Ned represents stability. And stability is bad for a man whose power comes from instability. Littlefinger's best position isn't in a kingdom where rules are clear and roles are locked. His best position is in a kingdom where people panic, alliances reshuffle, and doors open that never open in peacetime. So he helps create the fall, then offers himself as someone who can navigate the fall. That's the ladder in motion. Zoom out after Ned's death, the realm doesn't calm down, it fractures. And Littlefinger thrives because fractures create bargaining chips.
I declare that you shall be granted the castle of Harrenhal.
He becomes a broker, not of armies, of access, not of strength, of advantage. He moves between factions because he's never fully committed to any of them. That's another tale. Littlefinger always keeps an exit. If you want to catch him, don't only listen to what he says, watch where he leaves himself room to pivot. He plays both sides, not for drama. He plays both sides because it means the board can't lock in on him. Then comes the quote everyone knows, chaos is a ladder. Season 3, episode 6. The Climb. Most people hear it like philosophy. Littlefinger means it like a business model. When structures break, most people lose footing, but a few people climb because they're willing to step on wreckage. He's telling you plainly, Don't fear collapse. I profit from collapse. Now here's where the mystic detail really clicks. Littlefinger's ladder isn't about random chaos. It's about controlled chaos, pushing just enough imbalance into the room that everyone else overreacts, and then offering the solution that puts him closer to power. And the cleanest example of that isn't even in a war council. It's with the Stark sisters. Littlefinger doesn't care about Sansa in a simple way. He sees her as a valuable piece. She's a claim, she's a symbol, she's leverage. So he moves her like a chip, placing her where he can to open doors. And when that path requires someone else to bleed, he doesn't hesitate. That's the third tale. His tenderness is real enough to sell, but it's never strong enough than his positioning. He can sound protective. He can look sincere. But when the endgame demands sacrifice, Littlefinger stays consistent. And consistency is what makes him dangerous. Now look at that moment that defines his rise, the veil. This is where Littlefinger becomes a kingmaker archetype without wearing a crown. He doesn't conquer the veil. He takes control of it through manipulation. He positions himself close to Lysa Arryn emotionally and politically, and then removes her when she becomes a liability. The pattern is the same as always. He creates dependency, he removes obstacles, and steps into the vacancy. By the time he's standing in the Vale with the knights behind him, he's done it without marching a single army himself.
Your home is the Vale. The Lord of the Vale stands before us, and only his judgment concerns me.
That's his brand. Let someone else do the marching, he'll do the collecting. Now, here's where people misread him. They think Littlefinger is unbeatable because he's smart. He isn't unbeatable, he's specialized. He wins in environments where information is scarce, loyalties are unstable, and fear makes everyone rush their moves. In other words, he wins when the realm is foggy. The second the fog clears, he becomes easier to corner. And that's exactly what happens in the North. By season 7, he tries to run the same system in Winterfell. Manufacture distrust between Sansa and Arya, because distrust creates cracks, and cracks create opportunity.
Perhaps Lady Brienne could help. She's sworn to protect both of Catelyn Stark's girls.
But Winterfell isn't King's Landing. The pieces are different, the bonds are different, and the information loop is different because Bran is there, Arya is there, and Sansa has learned what a smile can hide. So when Littlefinger falls, it isn't because he suddenly got stupid, it's because his entire method depends on one thing: the room believing the story he's selling.
None of you knows the truth.
You held a knife to his throat.
Once the room stops buying it, he has nothing left but the truth. And the truth is the opposite of the mask. He doesn't have an army.
I am Lord Protector of the Vale, and I command you to escort me safely back to the Eyrie.
I think not.
He doesn't have a great house to protect him, and he doesn't have loyalty deep enough to save him. He has positioning, and positioning is fragile when the board stops shaking. That's the takeaway. Littlefinger wasn't a mystery, he was a pattern. He told you who he was in pieces through deals, betrayals, and perfectly timed pivots long before he ever gave you the quote. So when you hear chaos is a ladder, don't hear it as a cool line. Hear it as the operating system that explains every move. Create instability, offer the solution, climb, collect. And then, when the room finally learns to read the realm, watch how fast the ladder disappears.
How do you answer these charges, Lord Baelish?
So that leaves only one question left to ask. Was Littlefinger's fatal mistake thinking Sansa was still a piece, or forgetting she'd become a real player? What's your take on this? Drop it in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and if you're curious for more, click the video on your screen to watch the next breakdown now. This is Thrones and Ladders. Every climb has a cost, and in the Game of Thrones, power always collects.